Okay, you asked for it. Here you go. I'm gonna do a tutorial on the look I did yesterday, and I have Morgan, one of my best friends Morgan, over here on my phone, and she's gonna follow along with me, so it'll be pretty fun. So this is the palette I'm gonna use today. It's the Warrior by Juvia's Place. So what you're gonna need to grab are two brown tones that's really shimmery. It's like a mid-brown tone, deep chocolate color, some golden bronze, and champagne colors as well. So kind of take a look at what you already have and mimic it. You can use whatever brand you like, but make sure they're rich and pigmented. So what I'm gonna do, I already did my face, prepped my eye area. I'm gonna grab a fluffy blending brush. And then I'm going to go in with that chocolate color and tap off some of that extra pigment because it's easier to build up than it is to take away. So just start layer by layer. And you're gonna go into the crease and blend that out. I like to go towards my brow because my eye shape is kind of hooded. So I don't have a lot of lid space, but I have more crease space and they're more almond shaped. So I kind of got to fake it. What I'm doing is just taking a little bit at a time. I'm focusing it in the crease just so it gives me shape, but I'm blending it upward so that it has that fade to it. Another tip that I learned during my MAC days is when you're wanting to be more light-handed and you're blending, hold the brush a bit further back because this way you're not going to be so harsh. But if you're doing more detail work like liner or like I'm going to show you when we cut the crease, you'll want to hold it a little bit more closer and firmer. There's Perry, little cutie. So I'm going to hold it a little bit further back and I'm just going to build it up. So I know it's going to look a little bit washed out on my camera, but as you could see from my pictures yesterday, and I'll post more today, you can see how much more it's going to go. Morgan, you good? Thumbs up? Okay, that was a thumbs up. Good. So I'm going to do it on the other side. And really, you're just going to do this until you're happy with the buildup of it. Don't be too afraid to bring it up because even though I may not have product on the entirety of the brush, it's going to look like I'm coloring my brow, but it's just helping to disperse everything because it's got a wider radius on it. Okay, so then I like to go back in with the blending brush and just focus it a little bit deeper right in like the proper crease area, so the hollow of your orbital bone. And just make sure that's even to your liking. Kind of weird doing this on a monitor. And then I'm going to switch to a smaller, more dense blending brush. Something like this. So it's a little bit more tapered. It's not like a wide circle. I'm going to pick up that same brown color. So doing it with a denser blending brush isn't going to disperse it as much as the first brush did. So we're going to really concentrate it within the crease because then we're going to start to shape the eye look for it. So for this part, I'm going to grab a mirror, like a hand mirror, and I'm going to hold it a little bit below my face because that's going to flatten out the eye area so that you can really see your eye shape and focus the pigment on it too. And I'm still going lightly, so I'm holding my brush a bit further back because I don't want it to be too harsh. I'll let you know once that changes as we do more like focus detail, but I'm still holding it back because I want to give it shape, but I'm still blending it in with the diffused part. So it almost looks like we used two different colors, but really we used two different brushes of different density. And that's just part of makeup artistry, really. Okay, now that you got a little shape, I do like to go back in with the original fluffy brush just to soften it a bit more. So we're good with that. So this is going to really help with that smoky look to it, and it'll look more diffused too. So we're basically just building depth and dimension as you go, so that once we cut the crease, it's just really going to pop so much more. I'm going to take that same brush. I don't like to use a million different brushes if I don't have to. So with the same brush, I'm going to use the belly of the brush rather than just the tip where we focus it in the crease. And I'm going to use the belly of it, so the flat side, because it's still dense enough, but you can still concentrate it. I'm going to pick up the chocolate color, the darker one. See, that's not on the tip, more on the flat side. And this is where we're going to really build the outer corner. And I'm going to start working it into the crease little by little. So I'm going to, for this part, hold the brush a bit more closely. This way I have a firm grip on it and I'll be able to really pack on that color, especially since I did my face first. I don't want a lot of fallout. So tap off excess and just hold it a bit firmer and start patting it in this outer corner, or as you've heard people probably say, like the outer V area. So okay, so like how I mentioned with where you're holding the brush makes a big difference. So you probably saw me do it a couple times. I caught myself as I'm packing the pigment on my lid. I'm holding it closer, so I have that control. As I'm trying to blend it in my crease, I'm pulling it back a little bit further, so I'm not going too harsh into it because you don't want to completely take away what we did with the mid-tone color, even though we're going to kind of go back over into it. But I caught myself slipping on explaining that to you. But this is a good step too. So I have an even smaller tapered blending brush similar to what we used before. It's chewed because that little one got bored one day, but I'm going to go back in with that first brown color that we used in the crease, and I'm just going to blend along the dark chocolate color and still keep with the shape. This way it's a bit softer but still defined. Now I've got a pencil brush, so it's more tapered and defined like a pencil. And I'm going to pick up really any like thin definer brush that you might have where it's not too fluffy. Even if you just have a flat eyeshadow brush, use the very tip of it and you're just going to dip it in and you're going to run it along your lash line. But because I've got the tool, I'm going to use it, but I definitely suggest having this in your kit at some point. I'm going to hold my mirror up and look straight into it, and I'm going to go right along the lash line. Looks a little washed out in person or on the from the light or whatever, but in person it looks really rich color. So we've got pretty much the foundation of what we're working with. And then I'm going to take my concealer. I'm using Makeup Revolution in the shade C5.7. It's probably showing up backwards, but it's a liquid one. I'm going to take a bit and put it on the back of my hand. I recommend concealer or any kind of like opaque primer. If you don't really use concealer or don't have it, you can use your foundation, just because I suggest concealer since it's made for that eye area, but up to you. And then I'm taking a dense flat shader brush. It's synthetic. You can use like any eyeshadow brush that you want, but this is one of my favorites. It's the 247 from MAC. So I just picked up some of the concealer and I'm pressing it in, so I don't want a lot of excess, but I'm pretty much going to use the shape of the brush to create that crease, like cut crease effect. So I'm focusing it on the eye area, like your eyeball, into the crease. For the process of it. Morgan, it's looking awesome. Like, it looks so nice and smoky. I love it. She's giving me a thumbs up. So we're good. She's following along. It's easier to do this if you're holding a hand mirror down or whatever kind of mirror down, because it keeps the surface of your eye flat, so you're not feeling like you're having to look straight on and do it. You get a more streamlined application this way. Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm taking an eyeshadow brush and I'm going to grab a shimmery bronze color. So I'm just going to use this one in the palette in the middle. And I'm going to press it right in the middle, so pretty much over your entire eyeball, like your iris area, and still keep it within that concealed area. But if you notice, I'm pressing the pigment and I'm pulling it out to overlap onto that dark chocolate color. See, I'm still following the shape that I put on there and just spreading it over onto the concealed part and the dark chocolate part. Another tip too, if you want it to really pop, or if you're working with a different kind of eyeshadow and it's maybe not popping like you really want it to, pick up some more on your brush and then take a mist. I'm using Trader Joe's Rose Water. Love this stuff. And you're going to spray it on your brush. And it's just going to make it look more metallic. So especially up towards the concealed area where we have and if you notice, I'm holding the brush a lot more closely up towards the front because you really want it precise. Going to mix these two. Actually, no. I'm going to use this buttery color first, and then we're going to layer that over. So I'm just going to utilize the whole palette, but work with what you got. Do what you got to do. That's what I'm going to do. And on the lighter side, I'm going to do the same thing. So I picked up some of the pigment, sprayed it, and now we're going to focus this on the inner part of it, so where the concealer is still left. And we're going to have it overlap onto that bronze color. So this Norvina palette from ABH, I'm going to pick up an even lighter metallic color. You don't have to, this is optional, but because I have it in my hands and I used it in my picture yesterday, it's just an even lighter champagne, like a golden champagne color. I'm going to focus this right along the cut crease area. So I'm not going to blend it over the other gold tones we have. I'm just going to press it right up against where we lay that concealer down. It's just going to make it a lot more vivid too, especially when we go back in to darken it up. And again, we're just building that depth to it. So I'm going to use the tip of the brush just to kind of be my guide for this shape. Well, it's like reflecting and blinding into the camera. So that's a good sign. Okay, as you do that, I'm going back in with my dirty blending brush, the tapered one, and I'm picking up more of that chocolate color, and I'm just going to fuse. I'm holding it further back, and I'm just going to fuse the back part and make sure that the bronze is blended in with the chocolate. I don't want any harsh lines except for the cut crease area that we had. Pop, taking the very tip of that pencil brush, or even if you use a flat eyeshadow brush, do that and just go right into your crease. Right along where we put that concealer and liquid gold shadow into the inner corner. Oh yeah, see the difference in that? So that's the shadow. I'm gonna do a quick wing liner, and I'm using the L'Oreal Telescopic liquid liner. And I like it because it's a shorter head to it, so you're able to really grip it also. He's so cute. Okay. Again, hold your mirror down. This just, again, shows you your entire eye shape. It makes it way easier to do wing liner, and you don't have to worry about it transferring on your lid. So I like to, well, it depends, but I'm going to kind of figure out where I want to place my wing. I'm using a dark chocolate brow pencil. This is from J. Manuel. You can see how deep it is. I know this is going to feel weird. Some people don't like to do it, but I'm going to put it on my tight line, which is the ledge of skin under your upper lashes. And I'm also going to do it underneath. You could just do it underneath. You could leave it bare. If you have smaller eyes than me, I'd suggest using maybe like a golden color or a bronze color, not too dark, because then it would, of course, make your eyes look smaller. But for me, I love a smoky liner, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm telling you, once quarantine is done and we can go back out, especially when Morgan comes to visit me in Dallas and we go out again, I'm wearing this. I'm obsessed with it. Let's see. Okay. Going to pick up that dark chocolate color and just going to set the pencil liner we just did down there. Especially if your eyes get watery or things tend to crease underneath your eye, I highly suggest this step. Use whatever lash glue that works for you. that you want, but me personally, I'm using the dark tone duo. And I'm going to grab one of my favorite lashes. I keep them on a little lash tray. And these are the Wispy Salon Perfect lashes. So they're very sultry, but they're really pretty for day or nighttime. And they really complement a lot of different eye shapes. I use these on a lot of clients when I do any freelancing, even brides. This looks really pretty. So let's see, we'll do that. This glue gets tacky pretty quick, but okay, here's the tricky part. Just like we did with the liner looking down, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm gripping the lash by the middle of it, and I'm going to place it right in the middle. Be very still, try not to overly blink. I'm going to anchor down the outside corner, and then I'm going to turn my head so that it flattens out the inner part of my lid so that it can make the inside part of the lash stick. So probably a little too far away. You can see that. And then just I anchored down the outer corner of it, and then I'm facing into my mirror a little bit from a different angle so that the inner corner is flattened and it really lets the front of the lash stick. So that's really going to help that when you're out, you don't feel like it's poking you or that it's lifting throughout the night. It will just stay put. So just use a gentle touch. Take your time. I'm going to work on the lip part. I get a lot of questions on what I do for this lip combo. It's pretty much my everyday just because it works with pretty much everything. So whether I just do brows, lashes, and a lip, these pencils are very loved, so they're a little bit worn down. I'm going to use, actually, I'm going to take my liquid lip. I'm using two different ones. This one is Morphe, and it's in the shade Taunt, Taunt. I know I have an accent, but it's Taunt. So I'm going to pick this up first. And I like to lay the pigment on because then you can define after. And then I'm taking the, this is so small, I should have grabbed the new one, the NYX Suede lip pencil in the shade, Downtown Beauty. Cork is a really comparable color to this from MAC. I'm obsessed with that, but this is definitely my drugstore dupe from NYX. You can't go wrong with them. And I'm going to overdraw slightly. So I like to start at my Cupid's bow. You're just going to watch me overdraw it a little bit. I'm also going to be using my pinky against my chin as a bit of an anchor. So that'll really help you. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut, which is hard for me to do sometimes. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and just slightly overdraw. And then I'm just going to feather it in so I don't look like I have like a coffee ring liner just around my lip, a little chola lip. So I'm just using the side of the pencil rather than the tip of it to feather it in. Then I'm taking Anastasia Beverly Hills in Milkshake. It's a really fair pink color. I'm putting it in the center. I mean, once quarantine's up, we're pulling out all the stops, so might as well learn it now. Okay. Got it. I'm using another lighter NYX pencil, and this is in shade London. Okay. And then I'm going back in with my Trader Joe's Rose Facial Toner. I can't talk. I'm just going to set it. I don't want to get Perry. And then just press everything in with my beauty blender. There she is. Morgan stepped away for a little bit, so I was feeling pretty lonely for a second. But that's it. We're done. So it wasn't too bad. Explaining all of this took me about 45 minutes. Um, but it's a lot of fun. I hope you get to practice it. I'm going to post pictures of my friend Angela that I did a virtual tutorial with her. She did a great job at it. I'm trying to see what Morgan looks like, but she keeps like dipping out on me. Beautiful. She's putting her lashes on at this point, but I'm also going to post pictures of her doing it too. We often get that we look like twins, so you're welcome for your visual pleasure. But yeah, it was fun doing this. I felt kind of awkward, but again, you asked for it. Hope I delivered it. Hope it made sense. I want to see if you recreated it just because this is a lot of fun. So definitely upload your attempt at it. Use what you have. I want to know what products you used as well, apart from what I just used. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I think I might do it more often. It took me years of people asking me to do videos. I might give it a go. Why not? And then you get to see Perry, even though he's asleep all the time. So yeah, this is awesome. I don't know what else to say. Have a good day. Stay home.